Yo, what is good with y'all? In today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how to make Grow a Garden 2. If you're new to my channel, I made Grow a Garden. I made videos on how to make Grow a Garden 1 a year ago when Grow a Garden 1 first released and blew up and everything like that. So, I took a lot of the code from that series and improved it, ran it, ran it through chat, try to figure out where I can improve it and whatnot to make it better and stuff like that. That's essentially what we're doing. So, yeah, that's pretty much where we're going and stuff like that. Yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. So, this is part one. I don't want to do too much. I want to set a good amount of stuff up. We're going to set up the base assignment system, the teleporters. You're going to be able to buy seeds, and you're going to be able to see the cell UI, but that's about it. You're not going to be able to plan anything because that would be too much. This video would be like an hour, hour and a half long if that's the case. This video may still be like an hour, but anyway, let's go ahead and get straight into it. Okay, first things first. If you're new to Studio, you need the output the Explore, and the Properties tab open. You need the output so we can debug any programming errors you may get in here. That'll show up here. So click Window, make sure Properties, Explore, and Output have a check mark next to them. Explore so we can see all of our objects, and Properties to see the properties of said objects. Okay, first things first, let's set up our NPCs, right? We're gonna set up all of our objects and like we're gonna set up our workspace first, I should say. So let's create the buy NPC. So I'm just going to make a simple NPC. You can already have a model you have or get one from the toolbox. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to click avatar, character, and then we're just going to insert a block avatar, right? I'm just going to rotate this guy. Cool. This is going to be my buy NPC. So I'm just going to name him buy, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a proximity prompt so players can interact with him. So I'm going to insert a proximity prompt into the buy NPC, right? I'm going to change the action text to say talk. It'll be enabled. We'll set the hold duration. Again, this is up to you. So hold duration will be 0.5 seconds, but it's completely up to you, right? You can set the max activation distance. All that stuff is really up to you, to be honest. And then yeah, that's about it. Talk. Yeah, that's about it. Cool. And then we need to make cell as well. So what we can do is left click, then right click, duplicate. Then just simply drag to the right, and just like that, we have cell. Cool. Well, maybe let me drag it some more. Obviously, in an actual game, I just want to clarify, I am just a programmer. I am not a builder, map designer, any of that. My stuff is going to look very bland, very bleak. It is your job to make it look all nice and pretty and all that and stuff like that. That's your job. I'm just here to show you how to code things and how that will work. So obviously, you would probably have like more enthusiastic looking NPCs than these guys who clearly don't want to be here and stuff, which is fine, right? You're probably going to have like little stands and whatnot, like how in the actual Grow a Garden 2 game has it, but it's up to you guys for how you want to do that. It's completely up to you guys. Okay, now for the last thing, most important thing, the base. Or sorry, not the base. I've been too focused on still a bear map. The garden, right? So this is gonna take us a little minutes and stuff, right? Again, I'm not a builder, so just bear with me here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and insert a part. I'm going to group it. So right click, group as a model. Then you can just go ahead and call this garden 1. Right? As you guys can tell, we're going to follow this naming scheme and stuff. You got Garden 1, Garden 2, Garden 3, Garden 4, whatever the case may be. So we have Garden 1, right? Now, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and start with this first part. We are going to start with the fencing. Let's go ahead. Let's do that. Let's do the fencing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, wrong thing. I'm going to select the part. I'm going to make this brown. So because we want this to look like wood. I feel like that's too, I'm going to change this to be wood. Or maybe like wood planks. That does not look like a wood plank. I need to be wood. I guess something like that. But I feel like that's just not a good brown, bro. Yeah, something like that. That's better in my opinion. Okay, cool. So we're then going to turn this into a fence. So the way we do that, we're just going to do it like this. Again, this is completely up to you. You can build your garden any way you want. All that matters is that like you have the seed beds folder, the owner value, which I'm about to make. You can set up your base and be all creative with it as much as you want. All that matters is you have the stuff that like I make that's not including this. I'll let you guys know like what you need to have and stuff. So yeah, feel free to be creative and make yours look as nice as possible and everything like that. Okay, so I think that's wide enough to start. And then I will go up a little bit. Yeah, we'll go up a little bit like that. Okay. And then I will then, and then what you can do is you can right click group as model. This would be the left fence. So we could just, because we want to keep track of everything. So yeah, this would be our left fence. Okay. So this would be our left fence. I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna duplicate this part, right? So Control plus D while having it selected, or just right click and then press duplicate. Then I'm just gonna move this up higher, right? Because remember we are making a fence. Then I'm just gonna duplicate this again, and then so I'm just gonna scale it to be a regular part. And then boom, we're just gonna go down like this, and there we go. We now have, I don't know what part of the fence this is called, but we now have it. Cool. Then I'm just gonna duplicate again. While having it selected, press Control plus D on your keyboard, and then we're just gonna move it down. And then we're just gonna repeat the process, leave some space, bam. And then if we just keep this process up, we will have a completely finished left side of the fence. All right, very cool. I think I just need like one more piece to end it off, or I'm gonna put this one here at the end, and then I'm just gonna expand these parts to align with it. So boom and boom. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. We have the left side of our fence, right? So very important actually, make sure you go ahead and so find left fence, right click, hierarchy, select children. Make sure everything is anchored. Very important. You want to make sure it's anchored because if you don't, then the entire fence will fall apart when you start the game. But yeah. So we'll do it like that, right? We'll have our fence like that. That's our left. This is the left fence. Then what you can do is select it, duplicate it. Again, just Control plus D on the keyboard. Drag this over, right? Then, as you can probably guess, this will be our right fence. Bam, right? And then what we can do is we can go on ahead and grab this, grab the left fence, duplicate it, drag it over, and then obviously we need the back fence. So let's rotate this, right? Again, this is all in the effort of saving time. A nice 90-degree rotation should be good. Okay, and then we will move it over if it'll let me. Not sure if it will. Okay, there we go. Now, obviously, if I try to scale this, it will unfortunately cause it to get larger. So let's not do that. So what I kind of need to do is I kind of need to essentially align it and stuff like that. Because I'm trying to, again, the whole goal is to save time. Okay, there we go. Yeah, align it like that. And then from here, what I need to do is I just need to, let me first just rename this. This will be the back fence, right? That's fine. I'm going to find these parts, and then I'm just going to scale them. So your part, I wouldn't understand why your part wouldn't be at the top. But if it's not, then just look for it. If you want, just give these like the bottom and top special, like just name them and stuff. If it's like hard to keep track of like where they are and stuff like that, or which one is which, I should say. Then we'll just scale it out, and then we'll just do the same thing with the other one. So boom, cool. Okay, and then as you guys can probably guess, the next step and what we're gonna do. Let me find the part that's right here. Actually, no, that's actually good. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, I'm just gonna actually take this part. We're just gonna duplicate this. Then I'm just gonna move it over, and then as literally just like we did before, we're gonna just keep it going. Obviously, it will not be even. And well, for me, it won't be and stuff. For you guys are probably much better at building and stuff than I am and stuff. I suck horribly and stuff, but I have complete faith and trust in you guys. Okay, so duplicate, bam, and that's the wrong direction. Okay, wrong way. Clearly, you want to do your own thing. I respect it. Okay, there we go. So as you guys can see, we now have our, okay, there we go. Now we have the fence. Okay, cool. Okay, we have our left, our right, our back. Now what we need is the front fence, right? So what we are going to do is we are simply going to, I think what I can do is, yeah, I'll do that actually. I'm going to take the back fence, right? We're going to duplicate this. What we're going to do is we're going to move it forward, right? So you're going to align it with this. Then we're going to kind of split it up. This is going to be the front fence, right? We're just essentially going to kind of split it up in a sense. So I'm just going to scale this back to be like in the middle because we want it like a nice clean cut down the middle. So we'll go like to like right here. Find the second part, do the same thing. Boom, right? Then what I'll do is I will duplicate this, move it over to the other side, go to the end, and then we will do the same thing with the other part. Boom, take it down to the other end. All right. And then what we'll do is we will find these parts as we go through this fun process of going through all of, there we go. Okay. Once you find them, delete them to get rid of them so that they're no longer, there we go. Okay. And then this, oh wait, no, I actually need you, my bad, bro. I kind of need you. Okay. There we go. So as you guys can see, we now have a little walkway, little entrance. Now yours can be much bigger if you want it to be smaller. Wouldn't understand why. You can totally do that. Completely up to you guys. Okay. Good news, we are officially done with the fencing. Finally, obviously this is the most exciting part. Um, let's go ahead and let's create the owner value for our garden. This is what we're going to use to keep track of whoever owns the garden. So you're going to insert a string value into the garden. You're going to name it owner. Set its default value to be none. That's how we know it, nobody owns it. For the next thing, let's go ahead and let's create the sign, and then after that we will create the seed beds, and then we can move on to the next thing. Okay, so to create the sign, we're going to click up here. We're going to make a cylinder. You're going to scale it a little bit. You want it to be just skinnier, right? Kind of skinny because it's a sign. So, boom, we're going to make this nice and brown stuff. I'm going to set the material to be wood, right? You can right click, group as model, call this sign. We'll call this part we'll call this the sign support, because that's pretty much what this is. So sign support, of course, make sure it is anchored, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a regular part, so a block part on top of it. Okay, there we go. And then what I kind of need to do is, let me scale this down. Okay, what I need to do is essentially it needs to be kind of like in it, if that makes sense. Because you want it to look like it's like, like it's like the sign is like in it, if that makes sense. Okay, and then we will go like this. Cool. Let's do something like that. Yeah, okay. And then we will just move this forward a bit. And then we will rotate it a little bit. So it's kind of more so facing the player's direction when they're walking in. Okay, cool. And then we'll just scale it down. Bam, even it out. Okay, cool. Now we have ourselves a sign. Then just do the same thing to make it look nice. Bam, bam. Cool. Okay. Now, for this part, this is your actual sign, right? Because this is literally the actual sign. We'll anchor it, right? We can then drag the actual sign into the sign. Now, on the actual sign, we're gonna insert a surface GUI. This is going to have the player's username, so you can just go ahead and name this sign GUI, right? Then what you can do is you can insert a text label. And then if you don't see the text label on the front, here's what you need to do. Click it, and then you're just gonna find the face. You're gonna cycle through all of these options until it's facing the, until you can see it and how it's supposed to look, like how mine looks. So just cycle through the options. Rename this to be sign text label, right? We're going to, of course, adjust the size. You could just do like 1. Yeah, just set it to 1. Stuff. That way it'll automatically scale for you. Bold text, rich text, scale the text. By default, you can just put empty garden. We can do white text with a black textural color, and textural transparency will be set to 0. And then we can set background transparency to 1. There we go, fire. Okay, now we have our sign. Cool, we can close all of this stuff out. Go ahead and drag and drop the sign into the garden, since it's a part of it. And then the last thing we need to do now are just make the seed beds. Cool. Okay, so we will come over to the seed beds, or we'll come over to I guess the inside of the garden. I'm gonna insert a parts. This is going to be the actual seed bed itself. So I'm just gonna kind of drag this down all the way on the floor. Boom, boom. So something like that. And then, yeah, I'm gonna go out like that. I'm not gonna lie, probably a pretty, damn, that is a huge seat bed, but it's fine. So yeah, something like that probably, right? And then I'm just gonna change this to be like a, I don't even know what color to make this, I'm not gonna lie. Um, I guess something dirt-like. Yeah, I don't really know what to do. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna go with that. Now, I want to be able to actually see it, so I'm gonna lift it up a little bit. Okay, so yeah, we'll go something like that. Okay, so this part is going to be your actual the actual seed bed, right? So this is your actual seed bed, and then of course we need the parts around the seed bed, right? So we'll insert another part. Then you're just gonna put this at the end. Let's make the color brown, and then let's change the material to be wood, and then we will just kind of box it in. So boom, right? You can go ahead and drag this part into the, oh, I need to group it actually, my bad. So right click seedbed, group as model. Then you want to name this seedbed 1. Drag the part we just created into seedbed 1. Then you can duplicate it. Again, Control plus D while having it selected. Then we'll just, okay, let's not do that. We will move the part over to the other end, right? Then what we can do is we can simply duplicate it again, move it over, and then honestly, we could just rotate it and try to do all that, but I think scaling it would just be, I think we just have an easier time scaling it. So we'll just do something like this, and then boom, boom. Right? And then obviously if you're missing some space, just simply go back and just scale this and just simply scale the parts so that it matches, it aligns. Then we'll find this part again, duplicate it, move it over, and then boom. Okay, just like that, guys, we have officially completed our seedbed. Now let me just double check real quick. Let's hierarchy, select children, make sure everything is anchored, of course. We have officially completed our first seedbed, and we can go ahead and drag that over into garden. But let's make a folder for them. So insert a folder into garden 1. This is going to have our seedbeds, so name it seedbeds. You're going to drag seedbed 1 into it, and then obviously we have this empty space over here to the right, so let's make a second one. So you can just, while having it selected, Control plus D, or just right click and press duplicate, drag this to the other end, and boom, just like that, guys, we have 2 seedbeds. Okay, we are done setting up our garden. Finally, I know that took forever, but we are done. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's set up our seed folder inside of server storage. This will have all of the information about all of the seeds you have to sell, right? So server storage, insert a folder, call it seeds folder, right? Then you can insert a folder into said folder, and then you can go ahead and you want to name this folder whatever you want the seed to be called, right? So we're gonna say this can be carrot seed, right? I'm gonna have 2 seeds. I'm gonna have carrot seed and then strawberry seed. Now inside of your seed folder, you want to insert a number value. This is going to be the price. So rename it to be price. Instead of whatever you want your price to be. I'm gonna say 5 shekels, right? Cool. I'm gonna click the carrot seed folder. I'm gonna duplicate it. Then this one it will be strawberry seed. What I'm probably gonna honestly do too is we're gonna insert ID values for them, where each sheet has its own unique ID, like just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just keep adding on and stuff like that, their own unique ID, and that's how we can distinguish rather than using the name. I feel like that's just a better way to do it. But yeah, and then obviously you want to adjust the price to, again, set the prices to whatever you want it to be. You can set the prices to whatever you want them to be. You can have 5, 10, 1 seed, it doesn't matter. You can set the price to whatever you want it to be. You can name the seed whatever you want to be, right? Again, just showing this is just simply just showing off, like, how it would look and stuff. Okay, now on to the fun part. Not really fun for me in my opinion. Now on to making UI. How exciting. Okay, find stutter GUI, insert a screen GUI. We're then gonna do core GUI. Right. We're then let's just knock out the text label. So this is for the money, so you can just put this in like the bottom left. This is going to be your shekels text label. So this will display how much money you have. So we'll say shekels text label. Right. Bold text, rich text, scale text. I guess we'll just do like a nice green color, like something like this. Then textural color will be black. Textural transparency we set to 0, and then we can just have nothing, no text by default. And then we could just set background transparency to be 1. And then cool. Okay. Moving on to the next thing, we have the cell frame. So insert a frame into Core GUI. This is going to be a cell frame. So this is like, when you go to the cell NPC, you're gonna have those 4 options. I want to sell my entire inventory. I want to sell this particular fruit or plant, whatever. Tell me how much this is worth, or just never mind. So we're just gonna drag this to like kind of here, and then we can make this like probably 300 by 300. So something like, yeah, about like that. Then we can set background transparency. Oh my bad. Then we can set background transparency to be 1, right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to insert a text button into this. We're going to insert a text button, set the background transparency to be 1, right? We're then going to scroll down, bold text, rich text, scale text, set the text color to be white, text stroke color will be black, text stroke transparency will be set to 0. And then this will be our sell inventory button. So what we will say is I'm just gonna set the text to how it was in the first game. I don't know if this is how it is in the second game. Again, you can set your text to whatever you want it to be. All that matters is what you name the button in the frame and in the order and like the parenting and stuff. So that's all that matters. Name the stuff whatever you want. Set the text to whatever you want. The colors, all that, it really doesn't matter. You can make it look however nice you want. So I'm just gonna say 1 regular bracket, quotation marks. I want to sell my inventory, quotation mark, then bracket. So we're gonna do that. And then let me adjust the size real quick. So for size, we're gonna do 0 by 300 by 0 by 30. So we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna rename this sell inventory text button. So this is obviously for selling your entire inventory. Cool, right? Then we can go on to the second one. So while having it selected, Control+D or right click and duplicate. Right, on to the next one. This will be just sell text buttons. This is when you want to sell an individual item, just one thing, right? Then we can say 300 by 30, same sizing. Positioning, we're just going to do 0, 0, 0.125, 0. Again, you guys do not have to set the positioning and sizing to the exact same thing as me. This is just what I'm doing. Then for the second one, 2, regular brackets, quotation mark. I want to sell this, quotation mark, regular bracket, boom. Right. Then on to the next button, the worth button. So duplicate again. 3, regular bracket, quotation mark. How much is this worth? Bam. We will scroll up. This is going to be the worth text button, right? And then the positioning for this, we can set this to be 0.25. So right under, and then for the last thing, we have the close text button, right? So which is just never mind option. So duplicate, right? The positioning for this is going to be negative 0.02, comma 0, comma 0.375, comma 0. Cool, right? And then this will simply just be the close text button. You can scroll down and then update the text. This is just going to say, oh my bad, this supposed to be a number symbol for another reason. I just realized. Number 4, regular back quotation marks. Never mind. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, cool. And then I'm just gonna add the number symbol in front. I just think it looks better. Bam, and bam. Okay, cool. All right. So we have the cell frame, that's one frame knocked out. Of course, we're going to set the cell frame to be not visible by default. We will make it visible whenever the player goes to sell something. On to the next frame, we have the shop frame. So what you can do is you can go ahead and drag this to the middle of your screen. Let's maybe do 300 by 250 perchance. Okay, no, let's not perchance. Do 300 by 350, yeah, something like this. Okay, so this is going to be called your shop frame, right? Again, colors can be completely up to you guys. I'm going to set mine to like, I guess since this is like a plant, there's like a plant kind of game. I think I'm going to do like a kind of like a darker orange kind of vibe. I'm going to insert a UI corner into it. I'm going to insert a UI corner into it. I can't give it a border, so I'm just going to give it a UI stroke. Again, this is optional. You guys don't have to do the UI corner, the UI stroke, all that stuff. I just kind of wanted to make it look a little bit better. Okay, make it a little thicker and cool. Right? Now moving on. The next thing we need is our close text button. So we're going to insert a text button, right? It's going to be our close text button, so you can close the shop. So close text button, bold text, rich text, scale text. We're going to create an X, change the text color to be nice and red. Text stroke color will be black. Text stroke transparency will be set to 0. And then we can set the size to be 50 by 50. Then we can just drag this over into the top right corner and then set the background transparency to be 1, right? And then we can insert a scrolling frame into our shop frame. This is going to be where we actually have all our stuff. So scrolling frame, we're going to put this in the middle here, and then let me just think do 200 or 250, 260. Again, your sizing and positioning does not have to be the same as mine. I just want to keep reminding you guys so that you don't feel like you have to copy exactly as I'm doing. 250, possibly 300. Let's do 290. Okay, cool. So we're going to rename the scrolling frame to be seeds frame. So this is where we're going to display the seeds that are for sale, right? So boom, you're going to insert a UI grid layout so that it automatically sorts everything. This is going to handle the positioning and sizing of your elements. It's going to automatically do it. Let's make sure we go ahead and set the horizontal alignment to the center, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let's set the background transparency for the scrolling frame, the seeds frame, to 1. Then let's insert our first text button. So boom, obviously we need to adjust that. So let's do it like this. Let's do cell size. Let's try like, yeah, maybe like 40. I think like maybe like 40. So like, yes, I think something like that. Something like that should be good. And then I think, actually, I think I want these to be actually centered to, I think more so to the left. Or no, I think I do one in the center. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, you guys can have images if you want. Like if you wanted to do like an image on the left, I'm gonna have the price on the right. You can do an image on the left and stuff like that. If you want to have images and stuff as well for your stuff, I'm not gonna do that. If you guys do need me to show you to do that, then of course I can do that, but I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, so then just call this seed text button, right? Or I don't know. I don't know. I might just give them the name. We'll just do carrot seed text. No, that's too much. We're just gonna do seed text button. It's gonna be too much to name all of them. So seed text button, right? And then let's just do some customization real quick. We'll set the background color to be like a brighter orange. Bold text, rich text, scale text, right? I'm going to insert a UI corner into the seed text button. UI corner, UI stroke. Again, optional. You guys do not have to do this stuff, right? Um, hmm. I guess we'll just leave that at 1. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we'll do that, and then we will set this to be carrot seed. You can name it whatever you want yours to be. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger simply because I feel like I want you to be able to see it. Okay, there we go. Carrot seed, right? So we have our seed text button, and then we also need our price, of course. So we're gonna insert a text label into the seed text button. So you're gonna insert a text label, right? You're gonna want to make this maybe like try 50 by 50 for sizing. You're just gonna drag this to the right. You're gonna have it like right here. This is going to be your price text label, right? Here, you're going to put the price of whatever the seed is. So rich text, scale text. Then I'm just going to put a money symbol. And then we're just going to say, I don't actually remember. You obviously want your pricing, your like whatever you put here to be consistent. So 5 and 15 for me, maybe different for you. So I'm just going to put a money symbol, 5. We're going to change the text color to be a nice bright green. Texture color will be black. Texture transparency will be set to 0. And then we can just go ahead and set the background transparency to be 1, and then from there we are good to go. Like I said, I'm not a UI designer, so I know it does not look the best, but it is what it is. We're then going to duplicate this, and oh my bad, I forgot to make it so that they automatically shift. Where's the thing? Oh, so let's adjust the cell padding. Let's set this to like maybe like 50. There we go. That way they automatically shift down. Okay, so we have our first one, and then we also need to do strawberry. So let's change this to be strawberry seed. And then, now that I think about it, I think the buttons need to be wider. I need to make them wider. Okay, if we're gonna make the buttons wider, we also need to move over the price text label. Let's move that over. Stuff. I guess we could just have it right next to it, because you can't see the background. So there we go. So that it's like we can fully see whatever the name of the seed is. Okay, so you have strawberry, and then let's update the price. This is 15 macaronis. Very cool. Okay, so we have finally completed the shop frame. Thank God. Okay, so of course make the shop frame no longer visible. God bless. Okay, lastly we have the teleport frame, which is, trust me guys, much more simpler than what we just did. Okay, so teleport frame is just the 3 options at the top. We have seeds, garden, and cell. And then you just choose where to teleport to, right? Let's set the size to be like 300. Or I guess more like 400. We're gonna set it to like 400. Then you're just going to name this teleport frame. You can set the background transparency to be 1. Then we're going to make a text button. First, we'll just put this like here. Want this one to be a little bit smaller, so I think I'm gonna do like 40 for this, right? To like 200 by 40. This will be our seeds text button. So we're just gonna go ahead and, if I can find it, okay, make it a nice bright green. Rename it to be seeds text button. Bold text, rich text, scale text. We'll put seeds. Oh, well, it's supposed to be in all caps, but again, completely up to you guys for how you want to do this. Completely up to you for colors, fonts, all that greatness and stuff. Seeds, and then give it a nice black border. Boom. Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna duplicate it, drag this over again, Control plus D, drag this over. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger because this is gonna be the garden. So what we'll do is we'll set this background to be brown. If I can, I don't even know where brown would be. I'm gonna just pick screen color, yeah, something like that. And then of course you're gonna want to rename this. So this will be garden text button, right? And then we can go ahead and update the text. So garden, and then go back to seeds, duplicate this, drag this to the other end. Cool. And then just change this text to be cell. So this is cell. And then just all you gotta do is just change the background color to be yellow and change the name to cell text button, and then bam, just like that, we are done with the teleport frame. Now this is the one you do want to leave visible. And then the great news, guys, we are finally done with like everything else but the coding. So let's go ahead and let me just double check to make sure. Okay, we are good. All right, now we can finally get started with the coding. Well, actually, one last thing. Let's go ahead and create a remote event so we can communicate between the server and the client. Find replicated storage, plus icon, remote event, rename this to be core event. Then open up starter player, find starter player scripts, insert a local script. Then we'll do core script in parentheses per local. Delete print hello world. Let's go ahead and let's create some variables. First things first, create a variable for our player. So game.players.local player, right? Then let's create a variable for our core GUI. So core GUI is equal to player.player GUI, wait for child, core GUI. Then let's create a variable for our remote event that we just created. So core event is equal to game, the replicated storage, away for child, core event. Then let's create a variable for our 2 NPCs. So we have the cell NPC, which is equal to workspace, wait for child, cell. And then we have the buy NPC, which is equal to workspace, wait for child, Bye. All right. Now let's get started with our first function. This is get garden teleport. So we'll say local function get garden teleport, close parentheses, enter. We'll then use a for loop. We'll say for underscore comma f in I pairs workspace get children, enter. We will say if f find first child owner. That's how we know it's a base. And f dot owner dot value is equal to player dot name. Enter, then return f dot base spawn dot cframe. Right? Wait. Oh wait, my bad, guys, my bad. I forgot one thing. We forgot to make the spawners, like the spawns for the garden. My bad. So what you want to do is you just want to literally insert a part, put it. I mean, you could put it inside the garden if you wanted to, but I think it's just best to just have it kind of in front. Just scale it out, just like a little square. All you gotta do is just call this base spawn, right? Obviously make it transparent, anchor it, disable can collide, drag it into the garden, and then just like that, you're good to go. Cool. Okay. Now back to what we're doing. So what essentially this is get garden teleport. So it'll just simply find wherever your base is and then just return you the C frame coordinates of where your player needs to or where your character needs to go to return you back to base. Then we will set up a table. So it'll be called teleport actions, which is equal to special brackets enter. So we will say seeds text button. If you want to add another one, then you just simply just do this. So it's equal to function, close parentheses, player dot character. We'll say pivot to by npc dot primary part dot cframe. Oh my bad. Dot cframe times cframe.new. What this is doing is it's spawning them in front of them. You could also have a part in front of the NPC, like the same way we have a base spawner. You could have an NPC spawner part where that's where you want the players to spawn, but it's up to you. We'll do -1, comma -1, comma -10. And then you're just going to put end, comma, and then you're just going to repeat the same process. So just copy, paste, paste, right? And then for the second one, we have sell text button. What it does is it has this function where it'll just simply just teleport you. And then all we gotta do is just change this to sell NPC. Boom. And then for the last one, garden is a little bit different, which is why it has its own function. So garden text button. So this, the only difference is you can delete this entire part, and then you're just going to say get garden teleport and stuff, and then that's it. Then moving on to the next function, we got a while loop. So we'll say for I, comma b in I pairs. We'll say core GUI dot teleport frame get children enter. We would say if v is a text button enter. Then we have ourselves a text button, right? Then we'll say text button dot activated connect function close parentheses enter. We will then see if there's an action for set text button. Action is equal to teleport actions, regular bracket, and then you'll say text button dot name. If there's an action for it, then we can call the function. You can then say action, close parentheses, enter. And then there we go, right? This is essentially handling the teleport functionality, right? It's looking to see if there's a teleport action and stuff. If there is, then we'll call it and then it'll teleport the player. So obviously if you want to add more teleports, you just simply add it to the next line. Put the name of the text button, then function that you're creating a function, and then just where you're sending them to, like the C-frame coordinates, right? Moving on, we have the format shekels. This is how we format the money amount whenever how much money we have changes. We need to be able to see that on the text label. So local function format shekels, in parentheses put amount, enter, right? And then we will create a variable formatted is equal to toString amount, right? Then we will say formatted. We will say formatted is equal to formatted reverse. Then say G sub quotation marks, percent symbol, D, percent symbol, D, percent symbol, D. Then go on the outside, comma, and quotation marks, percent symbol, 1. This is all for formatting and stuff. So that, you get the nice, like 1.0K rather than like 1000 kind of thing. Right? Then we'll go on the outside, and then we'll just say reverse, close parentheses, enter. And then we'll say if formatted sub 1 comma 1 is equal to quotation marks, comma, that is equal to quotation marks, comma, enter. Then we will simply say formatted is equal to formatted sub in parentheses but 2. Then lastly, we will return format, and there we go. We'll have formatted the money amounts. Now we can create variables for our leader stats. So leader stats is equal to player, wait for child, leader stats. And then, of course, shekels, which is the currency for the game. We have shekels is equal to leader stats, wait for child, shekels. Right? Then what we'll do is we will say core GUI dot shekels text table dot text is equal to quotation marks money symbol dot dot dot. You'll say format shekels player dot leader stats dot shekels dot value, and then we'll set up the function. So we'll say player dot leader stats dot shekels dot change connect function in parentheses put amount enter. And then what you can do is you can just really just copy this. So copy this, paste this, and then you're just going to change this part right here to be amounts. And then we are good to go from there. Okay, and then now we're going to make some helper functions. So some really quick functions. So local function, open frame, close parentheses, attach the frame, enter, then we'll say frame dot visible is equal to true. Then just do the opposite, close frame, attach the frame, frame dot visible is equal to false, right? Then we have some next functions. So we'll say cell npc dot proximity prompt dot triggered connect function close parentheses enter. We'll then say open frame core GUI dot cell frame, and then I will say by npc dot proximity prompt dot triggered connect function. Oh my bad, connect function close parentheses enter. Then close frame. We'll say core GUI dot cell frame, right? Or wait, sorry, wrong one. This is shop frame. Yep, this is for the shop. And then we have the close one. So we will then say core GUI dot shop frame dot close text button dot activated connect function close parentheses enter. We will then say close frame. Then we'll say core GUI dot shop frame, right? And then moving on from here, because that's the close text button stuff. We then have for loop. We say for I comma v or bad core for I comma v in I pairs. We would say core GUI dot shop frame dot seeds frame get children enter. We'll say if v is a text button. So this is for the seeds. So is a text button, and then we can just go ahead and create a variable. So seed button is equal to v. Then we'll say seed button dot activated connect function close parentheses enter. Then we'll say core events by server in quotation marks by comma, and then we'll say seed button dot text, right? Then after that we will set up a cell actions table. So just like we did earlier, so cell actions is equal to special brackets enter. So same thing, close text button is equal to function close parentheses, then you will simply say close frame core GUI dot cell frame, and then from here we can just again just copy and paste. So Control C, Control V, Control V. So just gonna paste a couple times. For the second one, we have cell inventory text button. That's supposed to be a capital I, cell inventory text button, right? And then these are, and then, okay, so then we'll change this now. Okay, cool. So this is going to, so when this function is, we're going to fire the remote event. We're going to say core events fire server, quotation mark, cell, comma, quotation marks, inventory, right? And then after that, we will close the frame. So close frame, core GUI dot cell frame and stuff. And then we can just copy and paste over this. So Control C, Control V, Control V, and then this is just supposed to be cell text button. And then for this, the only difference is you just want this to say single instead of inventory. And then lastly, we have the worth text button and stuff. And then we're just going to put worth here, right? And then for the last thing, we have a local script. Before we move to the server script, we then have a for loop. We will say for I, comma, v, and I pairs. We will say core GUI dot cell frame children, enter if v is a text button, enter. Then we have a cell button, which is equal to v, right? And then we will say cell button dot activated connect function, close parentheses, enter. We will then try to find an action, which is equal to cell actions, regular bracket, cell button dot name. So if the action exists, then we will perform it. So, or wait, yeah, this should be good. Action, enter, and then there we go. Okay, cool. We are done with the local script. Let's now move on to the server scripts. So, if I'm not gonna hold you guys, I am extremely tired. I'm already knowing I'm probably gonna mess something up, so please bear with me. Insert a server script into server script service. Okay, rename it to be core script and parentheses put server. Let's go ahead and create our module. So plus icon, module scripts. Just rename it to be core module. It will be inside of the core script. And just rename these parts real quick. So core module, copy and paste. Okay, now onto the server script. Let's create some variables. First, we have the core events. So our remote event that we created is equal to game the replicated storage for child core event. Then we have the seeds folder inside of server storage, which is equal to game the server storage for child seeds folder. And then lastly, we have the core module, which we just created. So it's equal to requires script dot core module, right? Then we'll say game dot players dot player added connect function in parentheses put PLR, which is short for the player who joined the game. Enter. Then we're going to create our leader stats folder so that players can see certain stats. So then this will be a folder, leader stats. The name is equal to leader stats. Leader stats.parent is equal to player, right? Then let's create a variable for shekels is equal to instance, and this is the game's currency. So number value. Then we will say shekels dot name is equal to shekels. Then shekels dot value. Now by default, you can set this to whatever you want it to be. I'm gonna set it to be 100 just for me, but you can set this to whatever you want it to be. So shekels dot parent is equal to player. Then we will need folders for our seed inventory as well as the plant inventory. So seed inventory, this is that new. This will be a folder, seed inventory, right? That name is equal to seed inventory. And then dot parent is equal to player. So seed inventory is going to keep track of how many seeds you currently have on you, whereas plant inventory will keep track of like how many like fully blossom and bloom plants. So we have seed inventory. Let's copy this, paste it, and then lastly all we need is wonderful plant. Okay, now we do that. Plant inventory. Copy, paste, paste, paste. Okay, cool. Then after that, we're then going to assign the player a garden. So we will say garden is equal to no. And we will say for I comma ni pairs, workspace, get children. Until we will say if b 5 per child owner. And v dot owner dot value is greater than equal to is equal to none. That means we found a base and that nobody Nobody has claimed it. Garden is equal to v. Then we'll say garden.owner.value is equal to player.name. And then lastly we will say garden.sign dot actual sign dot sign GUI dot sign text label dot text is equal to player dot name dot quotation marks space. We're just gonna put an apostrophe then an S, and then we'll put garden, right? Very cool. Then after we will break because we only need to find one open base. We'll skip all of these ends. And then for the next thing, we will say player.character added connect function. In parentheses, put character. So whenever the player respawns, we want to give them their seed tool, right? Whenever you want to plant seeds, it's going to be the usage of a tool. So what we'll do is we will just say for I, comma, p, and I pairs. We will say seed inventory get children. Enter, and we will then create our seed tool, which is equal to instance.new tool. Then we have seed tool dot name is equal to, or actually, oh wait, sorry, I didn't not need that. We don't need to give it a name, but required handle should be set to false. Seed tool dot name is actually equal to v dot name. So the name of this, so the name of the seed, and then seed tool dot okay, wrong thing. That parent should be player. If it'll let me do that, player dot backpack. Again, guys, I'm very sorry. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I am like so tired. So, but we're not stopping till we're done. So moving on, let's move on to the next major function. So we will say game.players.player removing connect function in parentheses PLR, which is short for the player who left the game. All this is doing is simply just finding if the player owns a base and just removing its assignment. So we're just going to copy this code, paste it here. And all you're going to essentially want to do is delete the break. Delete the break. You're going to set the owner's value back to none. And then you're going to change the text on the sign to say empty garden, right? Very simple. And then we have one more function. We will say core event on server event connect function. In parentheses, put PLR, which is short for player, then comma event type, comma arg1, comma arg2, which is just argument number 1 and argument number 2, which essentially it's just for information, any type of information that was sent over. Or actually, we actually don't need argument 2, but it's just whatever kind of any information that was sent over from the client to the server. And oh, I forgot the quotation mark here. But yeah. So anyway, going on from here, we're going to say if event type is equal to quotation marks by. If there's anyone who's watching who saw my previous Grow Garden series, the first one, you'll notice it's a lot cleaner, a lot less lines of code. And it's a lot more segmented. It's a lot more broken up and stuff. So it looks much more better in my opinion. But anyway, so we need the seed name. So it's equal to arg1, the seed name. Then we will find the specific seed info folder. So we'll go to the seeds folder. We'll say find first child, seed name, and stuff, right? We will say if, first of all, if seed info folder, if we found the seed, and player dot leader stats dot shekel dot value is greater than or equals to seed info folder dot price dot value enter. Then what we can do is we can just copy and paste this. So let's copy paste. Throw a minus or equal in there and stuff, right? And then lastly, what we will do is we will call a function that we have not yet created. We will create soon. So we will say core module dot by seed in parentheses. You'll send over the player, then the seed info folder, right? Then you will skip an end, and then we'll say else if, okay, or not. We'll say else if event type is equal to in quotation mark. You put cell, you put the cell type, so whatever type of cell the player is trying to commence. We will say if cell type is equal to inventory, then we will say core module dot cell plant inventory attached to player, and we'll say else if cell type is equal to single, then core module dot cell single plant. Okay. Single. Wait. Good Lord, I am tripping. Cell single. I'm telling you guys, I am so tired. Good Lord. Cell single plant. Then we will attach the player, and then for the next thing, it's else if cell type is equal to worth. Enter. Then we will say core module dot check worth. In parentheses, you're gonna send over the player, right? And then from there, what we're gonna do is we can then, okay, good, we are done here. Let's move on to the core module. Now on to the real core features and functionality. Okay, at the top we need the core event and the seeds folder. So let's just go back to the server script and just literally we're just gonna copy this stuff. So just copy that, paste it. Okay, cool. Okay, on to our first function. So we have the is seed in inventory. This function is simply just to check to see if a player has the seed in their inventory. So function core module that is seed in inventory. In parentheses, you're going to put the player followed by the seed name. Enter, we will say if player dot seed inventory find first child. Then you just put the seed name. So if we find it, then we can return true. The player has it. Else, if not, then return false if it was not able to be located. Moving on to the next function, we have add seed to inventory and stuff. So this is essentially what happens when a player has bought the seed, right? So function core module dot add seed to inventory. Then parentheses, we will put player seed name, right? Then we are going to go ahead and create the seed. We will say instance.new equal to some recipe and number value. And we'll say seed.name is, of course, equal to seed name. Seed.value, you could just say it's like 1. And then seed.parent is equal to player.backpack, right? Or wait, no, sorry, wrong thing. Not backpack. Seed inventory again. Trying to make it through. Seed inventory. Then of course we need to create the seed tool. We can just save ourselves some time. So go back to the server script, the seed tool code right here. Copy it, paste it, and stuff, and then just change this from player, and then just change this part to seed name. Right. Very simple. And then moving on from that part, we will then say seed tool dot equipped connect function, close parentheses, enter. We will then calculate the amount of seeds the pool, or actually, wait, no, sorry, no, never mind. Never mind. I have not set that up yet, so there's no point in doing that. We don't have to worry about that. Never mind, guys. Okay, moving on to the next function, because we had add seed, buy seed, and then, wait, I'm confused. Oh, okay. Okay, on to the next function. So then we have the add seed to inventory function. Or sorry, not add seed to inventory, we just did that. Buy seed. So function core module. And then we have buy seed. So player comma seed info folder. Enter. So we will then get to the seed name from the seed info folder dot name. We would then say if core module dot is seed in inventory. That's the player followed by the seed name. Enter. Then we can just simply say player. You simply just say player dot seed inventory. That seed inventory regular bracket. And then you're just gonna say seed name dot value plus equal 1. So we'll just increase by 1. That means the player already owns it and stuff. If not, that means the player is buying it for the first time, or not the first time, but they just don't have any other in their inventory. So if it's the other way around, we'll just say core module dot add seed to inventory player seed name. Right? Cool. Okay, then moving on to the next function, we have the sell plant inventory function. So this is for when you want to sell your entire inventory. So for core module dot sell plant inventory in parentheses put player, enter. Then use a for loop for I comma v in I pairs. We will say player dot plant inventory get children close parentheses enter, right? Then we will create a variable for said plant. Plant is equal to v, and then we will calculate the base price is equal to seeds folder regular bracket. Let's find the name of said plant. So the name of the plant, we'll say dot price dot value, and then we will calculate the sell value, which is the base price divided by 2 times the plant value and stuff. Now, again, I will definitely say you guys do not have to follow the same formula and stuff. If you want it to be divided by 3 or 4, it really doesn't matter. Or if you just want to give them their full money back, and then you can do that too. It doesn't really matter. But you're not going to be able to sell anything. You're only going to be able to really buy stuff. Like selling is more about like, oh, we have the functions ready and you can see the options to sell, but you can't really sell because we haven't made planting. You need to be able to plant the seeds so that the stuff can grow and then you can sell it, if that makes sense. I just wanted to go ahead and set up all the groundwork and stuff. But yeah. So we have sell value is equal to base price divided by 2 times oh, I am actually missing something here. Supposed to be player dot plant inventory regular bracket plant dot name dot value, and then oh my bad, did not mean to do that. Then what we will do is we will say player dot leader stats dot checkpost dot value plus equals sell value. Then we will say player dot plant inventory regular bracket plant dot name, and then we will simply just destroy, right? Destroy the plant tool, right? Destroy that cell single, and then that's cell plant inventory, and then next is cell single plant. So function core module dot cell single plant in parentheses. You're going to put player again, enter. This time you will create a variable for plant. It will be set to nil. By default. You will then say for I comma v and I pairs player dot character get children close parentheses enter. You will say if v is a tool, because remember the low C things are going to be tools, and v.name is not equal to shovel and stuff, which we haven't gotten there yet, but eventually we'll get to shovel, and not string.find v.name comma space seed. This essentially is just letting it be known we only want to get rid of the plant tools and not the seed tools, right? Enter. Then we will say plant is equal to v. We will skip the 2 ends, and we will say if plant, then enter. And then that's when we have all the other stuff. We can just again save ourselves some time. Literally just copy and paste like all of this actually. So just copy, paste it, boom, very simple. And then lastly, we have the check worth function, which, as you guys know, displays the worth of the stuff. So this is our last function, guys, and then we are finally done. So we then have check worth. We have the player in parentheses enter, right? Literally, it's essentially the same thing. So we could just copy this. So copy cell single plant code, paste it. So you have plants equal to no, and then not equal to shovel, be that name, and then if plant. Then what you want to do is you want to calculate all the stuff. The only difference is you're just going to fire it back. Just going to fire it back. So core event fire client. We haven't set this up yet, so we're gonna have to set this up probably in the next part worth, and then followed by the sell value. And then boom, okay, we are done. Let's go ahead and test to make sure everything works. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, including this one, just simply read the description. If you want access to them, just simply read the description to find out how to get access to that. That's all you have to do. Okay, we have a problem already. Hold on. Infinity or possible, that means there's something wrong. Hold on. Am I spelling that wrong? Check. No, Shekels parent. Oh, my bad, guys. My bad. Okay, so go to the server script. You see Shekels? Shekels is not supposed to be parented to player. It's supposed to be parented to leader stats. My bad. So go to the server script to fix that. It's definitely going to be issues. Yep, see, there we go. I spelled reverse wrong. I'm going to go to local script, go to the format Shekels function. Make sure you spelled reverse right. That's that, right? It's still showing that. It was showing that before. But I thought the new way I was doing it was good enough. Hmm. And wonder because it's the same thing. You just reverse it. That's the only difference. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, just ignore that for now. So we're gonna hit play. Okay, there we go. All right. So far, no issues. Cool. Okay, now as you can see, it's assigned to me. Right? If you go to workspace, find garden one, it is assigned to me. So we have okay. Oh, my bad, guys. I did proximity prompt. It's supposed to be primary part. Okay, go to the local script. Again, forgive me, guys. It's 4 in the morning. I'm really tired. Forgive me. Go to the local script, find the teleport actions, make sure that's primary part, not uh proximity part. Okay, there we go. The teleports are working in front of buy, sell, our garden. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, there we go. That is working. Great. All right, now here's what we can do. As you can see, for some reason, the buy menu is not working, nor is the sell. Okay, so sell is working for some reason. Sell is working and stuff. But yeah, so as you guys can see, we can, just interact and stuff, except for buy for whatever reason. Oh, I think I know what it is. I must have put the wrong one. Yeah, I see what I did. Yeah, okay, right here, guys. So this is a mistake. This is supposed to say open frame right here. The buy NPC part, when you trigger the proximity prompt for the buy NPC, you're supposed to open the shop frame, not close the shop frame. Okay, there we go. Okay, oh, dang, that kind of gets in the way. Now that I think about it, hold on. I'm gonna move it down a little bit because yeah, I didn't realize that before. But it kind of gets in the way. So let's just drag that kind of down. Oh, it's because I made the shop frame at the end. That's why. Or I made it after. There we go. Okay, that's much better. So you can have as many seeds as you want, and then you can just scroll down. So as you guys can see, I can buy carrot seed. You see, I now have the tool. I can buy a strawberry seed, and it's taking the money away from me. If I go into my inventory, notice how I also have it in the seeds, right? If I buy multiple, it'll also reflect here and stuff. I can see how many I have. And obviously, once I run out of money, I cannot buy anything else, right? I'm stuck at just 5 and 5, as you guys can see. Boom, I cannot buy any more seeds. So, yeah. And then, yep, so that's pretty much it. So in part 2, we will handle a lot more. We will handle checking the worth of things. And honestly, most importantly, the next thing will be being able to plant seeds. I want to figure out how I want to do that. So we'll figure out. So we will do planting seeds, checking on the seeds, see like, like what it is. So like you have information about said seed. Maybe you can destroy it with a shovel. I might do that. But I know you'll be able to plant and sell and stuff. But yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you definitely did, then leave a like, subscribe and stuff. If you guys are enjoying the How to Make Grow Garden 2 series, then for sure to show some love and support, and I will keep the series going. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, just simply read the description to find out how to get access to that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, apologies for the errors, and let me know if you guys find any bugs, any suggestions, or whatnot and stuff like that. I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching.